Finally, accurate. Item texture, evening,
playground. So equipment. Okay, so this is the site location plan. This area in the top right is where the adventure playground. There's an existing adventure playground here, and this area down below is where some take place. The blue by your ownership. This is a satellite view of the existing. As you can see, there's some existing equipment here. This is an indicative render of what it looked like. Equipment going surfacing, safety surfacing, you a raised mount up and bench. Equipment that's there is staying, so there's a general arrangement back here, but essentially where the bespoke going, so circling here, things, and an accessory here. Here's the elevation views. There. Franklin, steps there. So here's the swings I mentioned earlier. This is swing and the bench, so that bench. In terms of public participation, we published no objection. So a summary of those comments. Monkey bars, seating. So we've assessed the application on applications bolted on. Accessible equipment. Planning equipment. One of the comments gave it as a new, I believe, asking for an hour of play. So moving on to the planning assessment now. Principle of conditions on direction, development. The application site is on famous Greenbelt land. Serve the open space and play in negligible. Take off. The site's pretty well seen behind trees and foliage. In a sense. In terms of the scale of development, that's it to it's materials likely itself is playgrounds located just off from the west main historic area of interest. They part we consulted the agency Ryan Park. In terms of landscaping, there'll be new play safety surface, so that's bigger up phase, that's the grey area. Up. Wood chip will be laid under the new areas here. Again. In terms of trees, there's some minor tree pruning works just to enable to remove the LBS Urban Forest and our services team are consulted the objective. This is the schedule of work down below. So the first canopies up. There, I can run. And the last one is sort of two tiers to biodiversity now. Legislation, the biodiversity net gain legislation, which is reduced. So gain result in best quality natural habitat before baseline habitat. Those based a 10 point. And how will that be achieved? It will be achieved through so these are the existing green areas, modified area. Go down in the park, see this tree that goes along there. So as you can see, slightly going in for steel surfaces, a little green dot, trees again. And then the rest uplift will as well as the legislative requirements, there's also policy requirements for biodiversity. So the sites within site with important information for the application, the appraisal, by development within links, value of the area, protect and avoid conditions. I'd recommend the bricks. As well as that, the earlier will further protect. In terms of neighbouring amenity, the site is located some distance away from the nearest there represents 75 metres. No objections were received whatsoever, but there was, in terms of ground conditions, EPT, Environmental Protection Team, were consulted. They didn't identify any ground investigation report. This will ensure in terms of other planning matters, for the application, exemption statement. In terms of there are being introduced, although it's not anticipated, there's also worth mentioning in terms of public safety, police, they provide trees should be trimmed where appropriate to achieve clearance from ground level to air quality. The development meets air quality exemption risk given the station and everything. So station is on subject conditions. Yeah, so the top is carried out in accordance. The 6 and 7 are compliance conditions. And as well as that, there's one is the yes, so the addendum, we have one additional comment, local residents, so that takes that was for in the members pack. I updated that, so that's 5 representations. Also covered additional station responsibilities, so following everything we spoke about place and that informative. Paragraph 2, there was a slight station was sized. Neighbour letters were not given the separation distance. Our press notice was sent and forwarded. Paid. Apparently, down to this, so this just outlines how station response changed. So yes, same again, paragraph 13, addendum, just piece on for the 31, 15 and 16. Like my part, read that lamp. Change that. Corrections and clarifications on one. Some trim trails down as proposed plans, actually already existing. Again, additional appendix 2, that's just added. Same again for appendix. That's about press notice being finished and states you.
So can I absolutely clarify that for incorporate
It's separately with the but it's passed goes out. But it's sort of
the actually main reason the treatment.
under that.
So then it's
I can just add to that. I think it would be helpful if applicants are giving what the proposal is, because ideally you should work with applicants for positions. The question would be whether it's probably necessary for mitigation of any planning impact for this development to be conditioned in that way. I think reasonableness test would be satisfied, but is it really necessary here for this to be conditioned? I think informative does its work, but again, it's in your obviously right to suggest any planning condition and subject to debate and then members casting their votes. It's for the committee to.
that's helpful. Out to, but for the reasons I've already outlined. Richard,
And if this is slightly Eric, but I will ask anyway. My days when I was with body, my parks place that came up quite often, not least because obviously public round right next. So I noticed in paragraph 60, flood risk. Obviously, I also know that at the other end of the park we put in embankments, so berms, places as well to help channel water. I noticed that this development, we're creating a fairly small berm to allow better access to the equipment. I just want to check. I know that make sure that you're going to create a in the flood area, whether it's in the play areas. With that.
Let me just run back. This area here, if you have a look on the map here, this one red field surface, so things can drain through that. Green is the only area smart going in. This is part here, on balance, through accessibility. This lower area, yes, so you can see it there. Uplift of power. I did have a look into it. For this site, outdoor play and recreation equipment, is like the lowest risk. It's compatible development that there's flood in that area. in terms of increasing risk. I don't think that was-
But I mean, because obviously, yeah, I guess the way that I see the goes to the gradient anyway. My concern is because the area of waste there, will way, but possibly also, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, are there any objectors? Thank you, Sean. Any objectors? No. Therefore, can I invite the applicant? And if you kindly state your name and mark the bottom.
Yeah, my name's Matt Hill.
And I'm Pippa Krishnan, Programme Manager.
So this planning application needed advanced play facility, Southeast Court. The majority of the old play equipment is safety reasons. Children. The new playground has been accessible, challenging, exciting for children. Include 3 bespoke large swings, large walkways, bars, trampolines. The tallest structure is a play tower that will be with a platform that there's been a thorough and robust publication process, which stages. First consultation asked about the existing playground suggestions. Design was then back into that design. During public consultation, there were positive comments about the playground, staff who run it. Big swings were the most popular items. The old playground, they've been told us that the open space within the playground focused the areas of grass, structured play. Play tower, and people told us that they accessible play towers, wide slides so children areas can swings, adapted, accessible seat with qualities impact assessment carried out to ensure that all characteristics no trees were felled. Trees with 7 value. By increasing tree canopy and that uses permeable. Overall, the new playground design, high quality adventure.
So Councillor Livingston, just raise your question.
Yeah,
and
so
then
just that consideration now.
So the cork and safety surfacing. So the new buns may sort of create an area. So it'd be more.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on the levels in the playground, and we can revisit that and look at the levels and where the water's being directed to. And we could potentially adjust the bund slightly to make sure the water flows away from the play area rather than towards it.
I've got
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a different question, which is just I'm sure this is welcome in the areas. How's this project? Yes, I mean,
It's all capital funding from the council's Adventure Play programme,
okay.
which included, I think, 3 other adventure playgrounds, but there were a few that were all approved at the same time.
That's really helpful.
So the proposal is to introduce sort of wood-based structures, and obviously over time it will age. So what's the lifespan? I mean, is that going to sort of be maintained in terms of protection from adverse weather effects? How will you stop it from splintering?
So all of the new wooden equipment on site will have galvanized, so that actually prevents sort of rotting around that, which has occurred in previous equipment. Structures have, I think, structures are certainly along, and they have been chosen so they're easy to sort of repair and fix for the team that manages.
Thank you. I was interested in the particular piece of equipment that will operate a harness. So are there going to be sort of regular inspections in terms of ensuring that that remains safe to use? What will be the monitoring? Thanks for monitoring.
It is a staffed playground facility, so the culture team site. So when it's open, it will always have staff there monitoring the use of the playground equipment. That's why 2 of the swings are quite big. And goes in an open playground, they need staff. There'll be annual play inspections as well, which will check on the safety of it.
Okay, that's really helpful. I hadn't appreciated it. That's really good. So we've got this informative that you would have in terms of the height of trees be installed and those currently in situ to be maintained. And it's my understanding that you already sort of carry out a program do that. So what's the average height of trees? Because we've got an informative 3.3 meters, and I hope you understand the reason why I've raised this, and members earlier mentioned of the antisocial behaviour and taking place.
Yeah.
So we've got health and safety plans.
Yeah, we'll have to conditions is and biodiversity that's been introduced, which includes trees. So we'll have to work with the tree team on management schedule for those trees, which I understand includes ground lifting at the moment, so it does include that height. I'm sure at the moment the trees will be quite a small specification, so I think they'll go in around high at the moment. So obviously
That's the maximum.
So that's what they're asking them to be standing. So with the tree, the mature tree, it's all the so all the lower branches are to allow clear.
See. So the trunks are
They're very narrow. They're going to be at first, so there wouldn't be a possibility of anyone hiding behind them when they're newly planted. It would probably take 30 to 50 years for them to get big enough to need the pruning of the canopy to raise it up that high. And I understand that our tree team does do that, but we can also include it in the habitat management plan to make sure it's adhered to.
okay. But it doesn't go. Okay. That's really helpful. That should. Any
Just to clarify on that, we're drifting slightly into debate because presumably that's appropriate when the tree is mature. You're planting a tree which is about 3 meters. First place, you can't round to that. You don't need to stay very wide to that. So it's not an issue. So that's a combination of when it's big enough that the trunk is wide enough to obscure view. That's when you need to round. Is that a fair interpretation? So it's it's just making sure our word is flexible, sensible.
Chair, if I may, we can edit the informative, like Matthew says, we can sort of put that in reference to including that specific reference to that height and maintaining canopy clearance within the habitat monitoring plan. That will all together.
and that would incorporate not only new trees to be planted, but existing trees. Yes. Management of the whole.
Yes, our tree team survey the trees periodically, and they would assess when a crown lift is required. So there are quite a lot of larger mature trees, and they would also assess those and ensure that the crown is lifted. When we can have a look at assessing those during this project as well.
The observation, it's incredibly. I feel that in my childhood I'm missed out. This is wonderful. I love all the musical instruments. How fantastic! They're really good. It really, really does look very exciting. Great benefit. I might just hover around every now. That's another story. Okay, thank you very much.
I think Councillor Salmon's angling for an invite to the opening.
Okie dokie. If there's no further questions, then I thank you. And councillors. So, are we sort of happy? Are there any further? Okie dokie. So I would like to move to vote and call upon voting members of this vote by show of hands. I would like to recommend that permission be granted. But do I need?
Yes.
I'm going to mention. Oh, I'm about to.
Oh,
Yes. I would like to propose permission be granted subject to conditions and amendments. And we've got the informative that mature trees should be trimmed where appropriate to achieve the meter's canopy clearance from ground level pipeline, and including existing trees currently in situ to be important habitat management. So that's the additional condition, and to include the approved conditions already stated in the report. Do I have a second? Richard's hand. So, all those in favour? Thank you. That's unanimous. Application is granted. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that ends this evening's meeting, and I thank officers. Thank you very much.
And the next